Good morning, students. We are now on the lesson 2 topic of our Yung 4S subject, which entitles Let's dugay kayo siya, no? So, the title for our lesson 2 discussion or topic is all about the historical beginnings of the major religion. So, please expect that in this lesson, we will all gonna be talking about the origin of the major religions that we have nowadays. But before that, let us define first our learning objectives for today. At the end of the 1 hour period, students are expected to, number 1, describe the different prehistoric beginnings of basic religions. Second one, identify the name of major religions under Abrahamic religions, Eastern religions, and East Asian religions. Lastly, reflect about the importance of respecting the religion of other people and how learning various faith beliefs can help human person become an agent of positive change and peace. So please take note our learning objectives for this lesson, since I will be expecting that all of you will be able to hit at least 1 or 2 goals of our learning objectives. Alright. So, can you cite the specific region where the major religions evolve? Now, can you identify common patterns in the region of the major religions? Sige daw. I know that you all have different answers, but please take time to philosophize some of these questions, because this question serves as our basis in discussing the topic that we have for today, because as what I have mentioned, we will all gonna be talking about the major religions and how the specific religions evolve up until this day. Alright, so next slide. So here is a table about the historical timeline of the major religions. So ito yung chronological patterns and how major religions evolve specifically on different regions, or from what specific regions each of these religions arises. Now, we have here the date, or yung exact date or petsa kung kailan umusbong ang isang relihiyon. Now, we also have here different locations from where these specific religions evolve, or kung saan nga ba nagmula ang isang relihiyon. We have here Near East, we have also India, and we have also here China. Now, it was believed that Judaism, or a religion from Jewish, it is a Jewish religion, was the first one to evolve, or ito yung unang relihiyon na umusbong sa mundo. So this Judaism religion evolved at around 1000 before Christ era. Same also with Hinduism, that takes place in India or evolve in India, which occurs at 2000 before Common Era. Now, I'm just going to run through or give you the summary of this table since it will be very difficult if I'm going to explain it one by one. So let's just take some notes on the information that is being presented in the table. So we have here Zoroastrianism, which is on the Near East, Jainism from India, same also with Buddhism, and Taoism coming from China or Japan. Now, Christianity evolved at around 1000 common or Christ era. So, Christianity evolved or nagmula ang Christianity Near East. So, later on, we're gonna be talking under which country na ma-identify na to siya as Near East. Same also with Shinto or the Shintoism, which evolves from China or which came from China and Japan. Islam also came from Near East. Now, Sikhism coming from India, so at around 1500 Common Era, and the latest one which occurs or which takes place on 1900 CE is the Baha'i, which evolved Near East or which evolved on the places as identified that belongs to the Near East countries. Okay, so I just want to emphasize that the table class, katong table na itong discuss kagaina, it shows a simplified version. So, it shows a simplified version of the list of the major religions of the world and the regions where religion started. So, iba yung regions, iba din yung religions, ha? Take note. It indicates the approximate date or yung date kung anong or in what specific date talaga yung each religion nag-evolve. One will observe that most of the religions originated from Asia. Yes, because just by observing the table, we can see na merong religions coming from India, coming from East Asia, and China or Japan. Now, some researchers theorize that the first civilizations started in Asia, and this explains why most religions were born in this region. So, merong mga researcher na nag-propose na ang first civilization daw or ang sinaunang or ang first na kabihasnan na itabo siya sa Asia. Kaya nga marami sa mga relihiyon natin ngayon comes from this specific continent, which is the Asia. Now, other claims that Asia has more fertile mountains, so daghan daw mga matatabang lupa diri sa Asia, kaya most of the religions were born in this region, as well as valleys than other regions. Kasi nga, if we compared Asia with other continents in the world, we can see that Asia is really rich in geographical features. Meron tayong mountains, oceans, plateaus, not like with other continents na they are extremely very cold or extremely very hot, just like Africa, same with Antarctica, and some other continents or some other continents na makita nato diri sa Earth. Alright, so this geographical experience urged the early civilizations to associate God to nature. It explains why Mount Sinai, this one, is important to Jews or Jewish people because it is where Moses talked to God. So, each geographical features na present sa isa ka lugar, naghatag na siya og symbol or a sign na God is trying to communicate the human person. Now, same with this Mount Sinai, because when it comes to Jewish belief, Mount Sinai is very important or very mahalaga jud ni si Mount Sinai. It is because in this place, Jewish people believe that Moses talked to God. Same with Christians. Now, Christians, according to Christians' belief, Mount Olives is very important as part of our religion because Christians believe that it was in Mount Olives where Jesus ascended into heaven. Now, most Christians, nagatuo sila na kining Mount Olives is sagrado ni siya nga lugar, isa itong banal na lugar kasi nga they believe that it is where Jesus ascended into heaven. While Buddhists or yung Buddhism or believers of Buddhism, they consider Mount Fuji as the dwelling place of the gods. So, if we summarize all of these features, we can see na each of the religions has its own important geographical features. Just like, for example, in Jewish belief, sa ilaha importante ang Mount Sinai. Same with Christians, importante ang Mount Olives, and same with Buddhism na they categorize Mount Fuji as a sacred place. Now, let's go with the prehistoric beginnings of the basic religions. Now, when we say prehistoric, it is the time where the first basic religions was created. So, therefore, expect na in this topic, ang atong i-deal are the basic religions before nahitabo ang civilizations or before nahitabo ang industrial revolution. Now, so I have here different pictures which depicts which shows an evidence on how prehistoric religions was created. Anthropologists believe that humans have existed on Earth for 1 million years or more. So, according sa mga anthropologist class, nagatuo sila nga human was already there after the creation of the Earth. So, anthropologists are the ones who study the culture of a certain group of people, and they theorize that humans exist for 1 million years ago. So, ibig sabihin, when other living things arises, lisunod po daw og kabuhi or ka-arise ang humans. They also infer that religion have existed in the prehistoric beginnings. So, they believe, or the anthropologists believe, that religion was being practiced by the ancient people. Although, sources about the basic religions are limited lang to non-written sources such as cave paintings, burial sites, religious sanctuary, and archaeological remains. Now, the ancient people doesn't practice reading or writing. However, because of this non-written evidences, which is The cave paintings, the burial sites, religious inquiry, and archaeological remains, anthropologists were able to predict that religions was already there and was already practiced by the ancient people or yung mga sinaunang tao talaga. Now, let's take a look on the primary sources of information about the basic religions. Kasi nga, there are two categories on how anthropologists were able to generate or were able to get information on how basic religions arises. Now, the first one it is called the contemporary basic religion. So, according to Hopfe, there are two primary sources. So, naa daw duha ka source of information about the basic religion. First, it is the contemporary basic religion. And the other one is the science of archaeology. So, mo ni siya ang ginagamit sa mga anthropologists to predict as to how basic religions came to be. Now, let us first discuss on the contemporary basic religion. So, in the contemporary basic religion, anthropologists visit a temporary culture and study its religious beliefs and practices. From this observation and studies, they infer that all basic and prehistoric religions may have similar attitudes and practices. So, according to contemporary basic religion, since they've tried to live with a tribe or with a specific group of people that practices different cultures and religions, they were able to infer na ang tanang daw prehistoric religions nga gina-practice sa mga tribal people or sa kanang mga sinaunang tao, they all have similar attitudes and practices. Now, that is on the concept of contemporary basic religion. Let's go on with the science of archaeology. Ito, diba? Kuya kayo ang job ni archaeologist. So, the second source of information comes from the science of archaeology. When you talk about science of archaeology, of course, the people who study about archaeology considers the past, or it seeks to see how human groups lived hundreds or thousands of years ago and what was important to them. It tends to look at the culture, the practices of a certain group of people. Archaeologist class, they carefully attempt to uncover the physical remains of the past civilizations and reconstruct the life and history of their traditions and cultures. Now, take note, they investigate how the physical remains. So, para sa ilaha, para diri sa science of archaeology, important kayo ning physical remains sa mga sinaunang tao. Because, in the physical remains, there were buried tools and weapons, which is a very good indicators on how a certain group of people practices their own religion. Now, always remember nga ba sa science of archaeology, they always have this physical remains because that serves as their basis in reconstructing the life and history of the culture and traditions of a group of people. Now, let's go to the prehistoric beginnings of the basic religions based on evidence unearthed by science of archaeology. Now, ang i-deal natin dito is yung mga religion under the exploration of the science of archaeology. Now, there are three prehistoric religions that are unearthed by the science of archaeology. We have here Neanderthal religion, the Cro-Magnon religion, and the Neolithic religion. Now, try to look at the picture in each religion. So, sa Neanderthal religion, we can see nga the civilizations that they have or the practices that they have was not really very prominent or dili pa siya masyadong naka-layout or ang mga tao wala kayo kabalo sa ilang ginabuhat. Now, in the Cro-Magnon religion, they were able to develop a culture wherein they were able to draw or they were able to paint their daily practices as well as their way of living. Now look at the Neolithic religion. So in this Neolithic religion, it is the stage wherein people tend to worship different gods. So ito, marami ng mga gods dito. Compare diri ang hangin pa kayo ang ilahang paniniwala. Here in the Neolithic religion, different na siya kasi nga ang mga tao nag-worship na sa iba't ibang klase na mga supreme being. Alright, now the first type of prehistoric religion is the Neanderthal religion. Later on, ito i-discuss ang mga concept under Neanderthal religion. Ito yung Neanderthal religion. So, Neanderthals class are believed to be the first humans or the earliest humans. Diba? Just by looking at its physical features, look at how the face differs from our face today and how they stand and how they carry themselves, diba? Ibang-iba sila compared sa modern humans or sa mga Homo sapiens. Now, these Neanderthals, which are the earliest humans, they live approximately 125 to 30,000 and occupy the Europe and Asia. So, archaeologists have excavated more than 100 sites, and this revealed that they buried their dead with foods, mga pagkain, tools, and weapons. Now, ang kinitong Neanderthal class, once there is a member from their group dies or kapag mayroong isang member na mamamatay, they buried or they let the buried body be accompanied by a food, a tools, and a weapons. So it is believed that the food or yung mga pagkain daw and tools are offering. So gina-offer daw siya sa gods or as an accompaniment of their loved ones into their spiritual world. So basin daw na maingon sila kala basin magbutom si Juan. So mayo man ang pabalunan nato siya pagkaon or basin di ay na makaaway si Juan didto ipadala nato ning mga tools and weapons niya diriya. So that is the Neanderthal religion. That is the way on how they practice their own religion. Now the next type are we also have other concepts pala of Neanderthal religion. Now, Neanderthal religion or Neanderthal burial sites have bear skulls. So, meron daw mga skulls ng mga oso. We have here an example. This is an example of a bear burial site. And same this one. So, look at how they think of these skulls as a sacred one. Now, the evidence suggests that Neanderthals have a worship attitudes towards beer. So, the evidence daw nagsuggest nga it is somewhat like this Neanderthal religion or this Neanderthal people practices worship to a beer. Now, although none of the evidence prove that they are religious kasi nga sila nga yung sinaunang tao, so that means hindi pa ganun ka-develop yung mental processes nila compared sa atin ngayon. So there are some scientists who oppose that the evidence was there to prove, but it's just that it's very impossible for them to worship a certain god or a certain thing since they are not really that smart compared to the modern humans. Now, the second religion is the Cro-Magnon religion. Cro-Magnon religion, they replaced the Neanderthals. So, kasi nga, when the first human exist, they are prone to extinction because of the climate change or yung mga pagbabago sa kanilang kapaligiran. So, after the Neanderthal class, there exists a Cro-Magnon people. And this is where the Cro-Magnon religion arise. So, this Cro-Magnon lived approximately 30,000 years ago. So, taas-taas po ng ilang gi-exist there sa ato planet. The most exceptional artifacts linked with the Cro-Magnon are the paintings and engravings on the walls and ceilings of those caves in France and Spain. Now, compared to the Neanderthal religions na wala kayo sila mental processes or dili kayo yung ana sila kapaspas po-generate og mga idea, here, the Cro-Magnon people are very different kasi nga, they were able to have their own paintings and engravings on the walls and ceiling of the caves in France and Spain. So that means nagdevelop ng ilahang way of thinking or nagdevelop ng ilahang intelligence. Okay, so the most common themes in the cave paintings of the Cro-Magnon religion are large wild animals such as bison, horses, bears, and wild boars. It was interpreted that these paintings are placed by the witch doctors before the hunt in order to predict the event of successful hunt. So here, the Cro-Magnon people were able to paint their way of life. For example, if they were able to hunt a wild animal, so they were able to engrave its physical features, or they were able to paint how certain animals look like before they're going to hunt. Also to pray na unta makakuha sila ng anika mga daghan ng mga animals because this animal serves as their basic food. So, tanawa this is an example of a Cro-Magnon people or a Cro-Magnon human who's painting a specific animals and the wall of a cave. Same also with this person nga nag-cave siya sa isa ka wall. Kung sama ni siyang animals, I guess it's a horse. So, iyang gipaint ang usa ka hitsura sa isa ka kabayo. Now, let's go with the Neolithic religion. Neolithic or the late Stone Age people lived approximately 7,000 to 3,000 before Christ. They are advanced in the utilization of stone tools and weapons. So compared with the Neanderthals and the Cro-Magnon, these Neolithic people are somewhat advanced, or they are more innovative compared with the other human nga nag-exist before them, since they were able to utilize their stone tools and other weapons. Now, one of the most significant progress that gave way to the development of the Neolithic religion. So, mo ni siya ang recent task nga na-develop ang Neolithic religion. And that's because of the improvement of agriculture as a way of life. So, people who were categorized as Neolithic was the first ancient people who were able to explore agriculture. So sila yung first na mga tao na naka gyud sa concept sa agriculture. And the Neolithic enhanced their agriculture, or itong mga Neolithic people, gi-enhance sila ang ilang agriculture, which allowed them to settle in one place and need not move constantly from one place to another. Kasi nga yung mga Cro-Magnon and yung Neanderthal, they are classified as nomadic people, nomads. Therefore, they are traveling from one place to another just to seek for food. Now, this Neolithic people is very different from them kasi nga they were able to settle down in one place, and they do not move from one place to another kasi they developed their own way of life, which is agriculture. They were able to maintain their food, their resources by practicing agriculture. Agriculture resulted to land ownership and developed communities that led to the formation of religions. So from this Neolithic way of life, people acquired land ownership. So naano na sila kanang kabalo na sila mo decide as to asa ra tama ng ilahang yuta, or as to asa ra tama ng ilahang pagtil sa usa ka land. And they also were able to develop communities. So as they settled in one place, their population grew, and then they were able to develop communities that also practices agriculture and other beliefs. And from that way of living, Neolithic religion arises, or many religions formed. From this Neolithic religion, humans started to be in touch with the land and the nature that surrounds them. This led to the formation of mythologies in which deities became personification of the sun, nature, and season. So from this Neolithic religion, nakabuhat sila og mythologies wherein kanang mga mga stories nga ang sun daw is a god, same with nature and season. Archaeologists also inferred that Neolithic civilization constructed monuments of huge stones, such as the well-known Stonehenge in England. Ito yung Stonehenge ng England. It was assumed that these stone sanctuaries and monuments are associated with the rituals of the early religions. Now, ito yung isa sa mga very good contribution ng Neolithic religion, because aside from developing these mythologies, or they were able to communicate, or they were able to pass down their traditions from one generation to another, and kanang nagtuo sila nga ang certain objects sa earth na ay specific na gods. They were also able to utilize or construct huge stone monuments, because for them, isa itong banal na lugar, because this is where they usually worship their god. Same with this Stonehenge in England. Alright, so next slide. So these prehistoric discoveries prove that there are traces of religions and practices that have been present among the early religions. Now, yung mga prehistoric people na atong na deal kaganina, so these people proves na early religions do exist. The carvings in the caves, the burial offerings and stone sanctuaries, they are the evidences which shows that religions existed in the early beginnings. So, all in all, it only shows that man kept evolving in all aspects, including spiritual dimension. Not only the evolution of the physical features, kasi nga from what we've able to witness, or from what we've able to see, iba yung features ng Cro-Magnon or ng Neanderthal with the Neolithic people. So, it is not only the physical aspects that we are evolving, but also the spiritual dimension as well. Now, let's go to the historical context of the major religions, or in what specific places do these major religions evolve? So, asa man dyan sila nag-originate? Now, in studying the context of religion, it is important to approach it with the attitude of religious pluralism. So, this means that all religions are viewed as equal. So, this topic that we are talking today needs a practice on religious pluralism, kasi nga we were gonna be talking about different religions in the world, and it is not emphasized, or it is not a good sign if we're going to judge them just the way how they have their belief, or how they practice their culture, but it is important on how we understand them. So, in the religious pluralism, this means that all religions are viewed as equal. So, this is very useful in understanding the context of each religion without bias and view of their different faith. Kasi nga, each religion has their own practices, has their own culture, and it is important na tanaw na to sila in a neutral way, without judgment, or without critics, or even without kanang kanang pag-BIBR, or yung racism. Dili nato i-practice ang atong racism diri. We should not practice, or we should not impose that our religion is better than the other, because all religions are equal. Okay? Alright, now let's go on with the categories of the major religions. We actually have 3 categories for the major religions we have here. The first one, we have Abrahamic religions, followed by Eastern religions, and the East Asian religion. So as we go along with our slides, may bala na to kung unsa ang mga specific na characteristic in these specific religions also. Okay, so the first one we have here, Abrahamic religion, from the word Abraham, Abram. So this means that the first group of the major religions, of course, came from the Abrahamic religions, which includes Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Abrahamic religions are traditions whose members believes that Abram and his descendants are their common origins. Now, unsa man ang mga religion ang under aning Abrahamic religions? We have here Judaism or the Jewish religion, Christianity, our religion, and Islam, which is a Muslim religion. Now, since there are three main religions which adopts Abrahamic religions, it's very important to discuss the characteristic of each sub-religions. Now we have here Judaism. So in Judaism class, Abram, as recorded in Torah, the sacred book of Jews, is the ancestor of Israelites. Now, Jewish people believe that Abram is the ancestor of the Israelites. Same with Christianity. Christianity referred Abram is the father of faith. So siya daw ang father of faith, or kanang sa tawagan na faith is pagtuo. So saya daw nagikan na ng pagtuo nato. Now, in the Holy Bible, it is clearly stated that Jesus Christ came from the lineage of Abram. And I know for Christians, Abram is not a new word or a new idea for us, because we've been encountering this name ever since, from our Holy Bible and or from the Catholic teaching. Now, the third religions also which adopt the Abrahamic religion is the Islam. So for Islam, the religious term Milad Ibrahim, which connotes faith of Abraham, is also being practiced. So always remember that those three religions are the one that practices Abrahamic religions, and they always take account Abram as their descendants, or they always emphasize na Abram is part of their religions. So all of these Abrahamic religions believe that they are directly related to the lineage of Abram. Now let's go on with the common practices of Abrahamic religion. So at what point di ay unique ang Abrahamic religions? First, Abrahamic religion practices monotheism. So all of those three religions, namely Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, they all practices monotheism, which means they worship only one God. Now the second characteristic, Abrahamic religions view God as the creator and source of moral law. So since they practice monotheism, then it is expected na for this specific type of religion, God is being considered as the creator and the source of moral law. Also, their religious texts such as the Torah, the Bible. Torah is a major book for, or it is same with the Bible in Catholic or in Christians, and that is for Jewish. I mean, this Torah is for Jewish, and Quran is for Islam, which denotes for Islam, holds a common religious figures, histories, and places. It's just that the language is different and the name of the specific sacred books, kasi nga iba-iba tayo ng pangalan ng sacred books, as well as the names and characters na ginagamit sa tuang specific na Bible. Fourth one, some of the common scriptural texts are said to be coming from a common source. Now, since the Judaism, Islam, and Christianity believe in one God and that we came from one lineage, specifically on the lineage of Abraham, now these three religions believe that we all came from a common source. And lastly, those religions that I have mentioned, those three religions originate from West Asia, where patriarchal customs are dominant. So this means na ang head ng family is the father, or the one that is being considered as the most powerful in the house is yung lalaki. And that is the common characteristic for Abrahamic religions. Alright, so for the next slide, now since we are done talking about Abrahamic religion, let's move on to the Eastern religion. From the word itself, Eastern or East Asia. So this means that the religions that we were gonna be talking are the religions coming from the East Asia, specifically Hinduism and Buddhism. So the second group of religion is categorized as Eastern religion, which denotes the way of life or Indian religion. Now, these Eastern religions are consist of two major categories. We have here Hinduism and Buddhism, whose religious practices are intimately linked to a person's way of life. So this means na kinang Hinduism and Buddhism, wala kayo nila gina-emphasize ang monotheism or a belief in supreme being, but they give more emphasis on how a person lives his or her life. Both Hinduism and Buddhism have common origins. The Ganges culture of the northern India, wherein they share common beliefs that are practiced side by side. So, kini siya ng mga similarities class includes karma, meaning action, and the dharma, which means the natural law or duty. So, at some point, merong similarities itong Hinduism and Buddhism, and that is the practice of karma, or the idea of karma and the dharma. Now, they also have similar practices such as mantra, the yoga, and meditation. So these are important devotions in order to attain enlightenment. So these three practices are the highlights for Hinduism and Buddhism. Itong mantra, yoga, and meditation. Okay. So, aside from those similarities na atong na-discuss, meron ding pagkakaiba at some point ang Hinduism and Buddhism. Now, according to its founder, Buddha, this is for Buddhism, it is not necessary to believe in a God. What is more essential is that a person lives a good life. Now, sa Buddhist religion, dili necessary na mutuo ka sa existence sa isa ka supreme being. What is more important is that you live a good life, or you were able to give goodness to others, and you were able to practice the virtues of Buddhism. On the other hand, Hinduism believe in the existence of gods and deities. So this means, ang Hinduism, dili siya monotheistic type of belief. Instead, they practices the existence, or they worship many gods and many other supreme beings or divine beings. So therefore, Hinduism is a polytheistic type of religion. Now, let's go on to the last category of the major religions. And this is the East Asian religion. Now, countries belonging to East Asian countries includes China, Hong Kong, Japan, Macau, North Korea, South Korea, and Taiwan. So, as we all know, all of these countries practices Taoism or Confucianism. And that is why this type of religions are popularly being practiced by any other Mongoloid race or yung mga races na nabilong sa East Asian countries. So the East Asian religion is also called as the Far Eastern religion, and they are popularly known as Chinese or the Taoist religions. So, sa the major characteristic ni East Asian religion. Now, this group is a subset of the Eastern religion, which originates from Hinduism and Buddhism. So, at some point, class, na ay similarities ang East Asian religion from the Eastern religion. So, there are three types for the East Asian religion, and this includes Confucianism, Taoism, and Shintoism. So their philosophies focuses on the concept of Tao, or the flow of the universe. It pertains to the force, or the Tao pertains to the force behind the natural order. So they believe that there is a certain influence that keeps the universe balanced and in order, in which its effect can be negative or positive. So mao na ilang belief. They believe nga there is a certain person, or there is someone that makes the universe balance, and its effect can either be negative or positive. So believers of these forces are convinced with proper attitude and virtues as key to deal with various forces behind the natural order. So these religions practices the proper attitude and virtues to oppose the various forces coming from the natural order. So this type of religions are dominant in China, Korea, Japan, and other regions within East Asia. And that's all for today. Thank you so much for listening to my discussion.